is my first video on how to make a platformer game in Microsoft Makecode. So first of all, when you load into Microsoft Makecode, you want to go to New Project and give your game a name, such as, let's go Platformer Game, and hit Create. Then when you load in, you'll see this menu right here. First of all, what we should do is we want to make our player sprite. We want to rename it, or you can make a new one if you want, new variable if you want to. I'm renaming it to player sprite. How about that? Then when we go, you can draw your own sprite. You don't have to. You want to go into your gallery. If you don't want to draw your sprite, you want to go into gallery and choose a character. I'm going to go with this character. Name it player and click done. Now when this loads up, it should show our character. I see we can't move him and he's in the dark. So we're going to fix that. Now in scene, you want to set background color to. Then you can choose one of these colors to make your background. Or you don't have to do it. In my opinion, it's harder to do this. But you can use a background image and use that as your background. So when you load in, this will be your background. Personally, I would just use set background color and choose blue. That works. So then now it's blue. Now, first of all, we want to move our character. So we want to take the move my sprite with buttons block. Now, it says my sprite, and see we get an error message because we don't have a my sprite in the code. We have player sprite. So we want to click on that and change it to player sprite. Now we should be able to move around. See? But our camera doesn't follow us. So that's a big problem because we want our camera to follow us. So what we would do is we'll take the camera follow my sprite block. And again, change that to player sprite. So now, it may not look like we're moving, but we are, and the camera's following us. So now, we want to make our map. So, you want to go to scene again, scroll down till we find the tile map category, and take out set tile map to tile map. Now, we go in here. I would suggest making it 30. So yeah, 30 by 16. That's normally a good width. And then you want to draw your area. Now my tiles, this area, you can make your own tiles. It's you can use a fill tool. Now fill the whole thing. Square will make a square like that. And you got the circle tool that makes circle. This tool, you can grab parts of your tile and drag it. It's also in the sprite editor. You got the eraser. This allows you to draw in straight lines. You can also move down, make diagonal lines. So now I'm just gonna draw a simple grass block. Okay, so now we got our grass block. Now we can go into our level. You can use any of these tools. I mainly use the line tool, and you can draw your map like this. You see, now we have our map finished. So now we go into our game, and we can go down here and we find our level. But our player goes through it. That's a big problem. We do not want our player to go through it. So we want to go into back here. I would use the bucket tool because it's faster. You want to click that, and that will make walls. So you can click on the grass, then anything connected to it, that's the same tile, will have a wall. So you want to do all of that for all of your blocks, and then it should be good. So we click done, and now if we go down, you can see we cannot go through the blocks anymore. We can still go down through the holes if you have any holes in your tile map. So now what we want to do is we want to make it so our player spawns on the tile map. So we want to, like, in the right spot you want it. So you go to scene, you'll find, where is it? Place my sprite on top of tile map column row. This block right here. Again, change my sprite to player sprite, and it should work. Now, this changes the spot on where the player will spawn. So you want to go into your tile map. So move your cursor over to where you want the player to spawn. So here, this is where I want my player to spawn. For me, it's 09. For you, it may be different. So type in the first number and the second number, like that. So then when it loads, you see our player spawns on the grass. Problem we have is he can just fly up into the air. That's not good, which I'll fix that later. So now we want to make a def block, because we can do jumping later, because jumping's a mechanic, and we want to get like the core things for our game done first. So we are now going to make a new tile. This is what I would do. If you want your game to look good, I would make this tile the same color as your background and name it Def Block. Done. So now you can either use the square or the line, and you want to draw it right under your map. So when the player falls, they will fall down there. So now I'm going to go in. As you can see, you can't see the tiles, but it's right there. So now we want to go back in the scene. We'll use the scene section a lot. We want to find on sprite of kind player overlaps at location. This block right here. Change this to your def block. Then you wanna go game. You wanna go to game, find game over. Now for me, this is set to win. You wanna change that to lose. Now, here's something that's optional, but I've seen most tutorials don't do. You can add a message and an effect. So like, for message, you always want to place the message and the effect above the game over, or else it won't work. So you want to change that to lose too. And you can change the text to anything. So I'm going to do get good. Boom. So now when you die, so when you overlap this block right here, it says get good. Okay, so now we want to add, you don't have to, but you can add an effect. So you can use confetti effect for lose. They would say win automatically, I think. Just change it to lose and then you can choose an effect. I use dissolve most of the time. And it does like this cool effect. You don't have to use dissolve, it's just what I use. Cause it looks cool. Okay, so now what we want to do is we need to add animations. Now, again, you don't have to do this if you just want your player to float, like not have animations. But for me, you should have the animation tab right over here under math and above extensions. If you don't, then go into extensions and right here should be animation, which I already have it, so I don't need to download it. So now, this is just how I do it. I'm sure you can find a different tutorial on how to do it better. But you want to take a controller block, take on button press, you want to go. So for right button pressed, we want to stop all animations on player sprite. So basically when this happens, it will stop every single animation that's going to play for player sprite. But we don't have any animations left, so we want to grab the animate my sprite blocker like this. Again, change it to player sprite. Loop. Now if you use a gallery sprite, you can just take one from the gallery. If you made your own one, you have to animate it yourself. And you got your sprite. I would actually change the name, so like player walk right. So then when we go in, you can see our player has a walking animation, but it's slow and never stops. Now we have this, so we want to change this to any speed you want. I would not do 500 because that's too slow. I would do 200. To me, it's the perfect speed. And honestly, it just looks good. See? Pretty good, but like he doesn't have any other animations, so that's bad. So I would duplicate. No, not duplicate. Actually, I would not duplicate when doing this. It could mess you up. So now you want to do right button again, but change the press to the least. And we want to do animation, player sprite, animate, player, frames, and take that exact same animation you used for walking, and delete all except for this frame of them staying still. And you name it player idle right. And you don't have to loop it. You don't have to loop it. If you want to, you can. You just don't have to. Now, you can walk forward. When we stop, you stop. And we go again, then stop. So then all you gotta do is repeat the same process for left. So I'm not gonna talk for this because I'll explain it. You can just watch. So now instead of taking this animation, you want to take this animation and name it player walk in the direction, so left. Same thing as last time. Same thing, you just wanted to not delete the sprite of the player standing still. Then you need player idle left. Okay, so animations, all done. You don't have to do them again. But yeah, you got animations now. So now we want to have a win. And in later tutorial, I'll show you how to make separate levels from what I know. So basically, we're copying this code, and we're gonna paste it. You can duplicate it too. So change all this to win, and instead of dissolve, you can do, I don't know, confetti. Change it to something, I don't know, GG. Okay, so now we want the tile for the player to overlap at. So head back into your tile map. Now you honestly could use something from the dungeon, like a chest. If you want to draw something your own, you can, but you don't have to. So I would do chest. Okay, same thing as with the game over. Change this tile, the blue, to the chest. So then when you go over here, you win. Okay, so now the final stuff for this tutorial. You want score and health. So you want to set life to 3 at the beginning. So then, so you got 3 hearts. Now this part right here is optional. You can do it set score to 0. So as soon as you start, it displays the UI for the score up there, showing you on 0. You don't have to do that because when we add enemies in, they'll give you the score, and the score will immediately show up on the GUI up there, or UI. I used to Roblox, so I call it GUI. Yeah, it will show up on the UI up there. So this is everything you need for now. Next tutorial should come out soon. Bye.